How to tile a bathroom floor. Tiles can look great in a bathroom, and they are waterproof and hard-wearing too. There's a huge range to choose from. You'll find a full list of tools and materials you'll need at the end of this video. Be sure floors are prepped before tiling, like this plywood floor, which has been primed. Other floor surfaces may require different preparation. Because most rooms are not perfectly square, it's a good idea to work out how your tiles will fit before you stick them down. You should aim to make the most pleasing arrangement, with symmetrical gaps on each side. To do this, find the middle point of your bathroom and dry lay the tiles until you reach the wall, leaving space for the grout using the spacers. The last whole tile before the wall will give you a provisional starting point when you actually start to tile the room. But if the gap between this tile and the wall is less than half a tile's width, you'll need to move all the tiles, as a small piece of tile here can look untidy. If this does happen, slide your centre tile back from the centre mark exactly half a tile's width. And then dry lay the tiles from this point again. Now you will find that your end tile is much wider, nearer a full tile than a sliver, and it will look much neater. Now mark this position on the floor with a pencil and measure the distance between the centre of the room and this mark. Then, further down the room, find the centre again and use the tile measurement to find the position of the end tile once more. Then use this and your original point to position a wooden batten across the room. Screw the batten down, having checked for pipes and cables using a detector. Then you need to do the same process for the other wall at right angles to the first. Find the midpoint of the length of the room and dry lay your tiles. As before, your last whole tile before a wall or obstacle, in our case the bath, will be your starting point. Now position another batten to make a corner. You now have the perfect starting point to create a neat tiling pattern. If you are laying the tile onto a concrete surface, don't use battens. Just use clear pencil lines to start your tiles. The floor you are tiling will dictate the kind of adhesive you use. Always check manufacturer's instructions. We're going to use a rapid set tile adhesive. It comes as a powder and must be mixed with water. In this case, add twice the amount of powder to water. Then, use a drill with a mixing paddle to mix the adhesive into a thick paste with no lumps. If using old adhesive from another project, make sure it is not out of date. To begin tiling, scoop out enough adhesive to cover about a square metre and apply to the floor. Using the notch spreader, spread the adhesive over the area you will start tiling, a square metre at a time. Then place your first tile on the batten, giving it a slight twist to really bed it into the adhesive. Then place the next tile alongside it, slotting in spaces between to ensure the right gap. Check periodically that the tiles are flat and level using a spirit level. If they are not, you may have to remove the tile and scrape some adhesive off, or add extra to even out the surface. Continue placing whole tiles across the floor, making sure they are still aligned to your marks or batten. Place tile spacers between the tiles as you go. We're using 5mm floor spacers. Then, carefully wipe the tiles with a damp sponge to remove any adhesive that is on the surface and clear out excessive adhesive in between the tiles in the grout lines too. If any adhesive has dried, you can remove it with warm soapy water. Continue until all whole tiles are laid. When the adhesive has dried, you can remove the battens. Measure the gap between the wall and edge for each tile to be cut, as this might vary because most walls might not be 100% straight. Remember to take into account the 5mm grout gap too. There is no need to leave a grout gap on the wall edge, as you'll be filling this with silicone sealant later. Then, mark this distance on new tiles and cut them. There are a number of different ways to cut straight lines across ceramic tiles, each with their own advantages. But with each method, shards of tile could fly off during cutting, so be sure to wear protective gloves and safety glasses or goggles. The simplest method to cut tiles is to use a tile scribe. Use a metal ruler and with a pencil or felt tip pen, mark a line across the tile. Scrape along the mark using the tile scribe and the metal ruler. Ensure that the tile is scored all the way along the length to prevent it from shattering. To snap the tile, place a pencil or similar under the line on the tile and apply downward pressure on the sides. Or you can rest the tile on the edge of a worktop and press on the sides. There are many other ways to cut tiles, including a tile cutting machine, a tile nipper, or a tungsten carbide rod. See our film How to Cut Tiles for more details. After cutting your tiles, check the piece fits the gap correctly. Then, apply adhesive to the floor or the back of the tile and press the tile into the gap. Continue this around the whole room. Almost all bathrooms have obstacles that have to be tiled around, like the pedestals of toilets and hand basins. Start work on this when the adhesive on the rest of the tiles is fully dry. Otherwise, you risk moving the tiles when you walk on them. The best way to tile around an obstacle is to create an accurate paper template of it. First, cut a piece of paper or card the same size as your tiles. Then, in the area of the tile which will come into contact with the obstruction, cut a series of slits about 5 or 10mm wide, slightly longer than the obstruction. Place the paper tile in position with the cut slits against the obstruction and carefully fold back each slit, pressing them against the obstacle. Then, draw a line along the shape of the obstruction. Now remove the paper tile and cut along the line. Place the paper template into position and check again that the shape is exactly right. Then secure the paper to the tile using tape and mark along the edge of your template using a pencil or pen. Score over the line using a tile scribe. This will help the tile cut cleanly at the mark. Then, using a tile nipper, take tiny chunks of tile out, slowly chipping away until you get near to the line. Once you get close to your mark, be careful and make the cuts even smaller. Once you're on the line, you will need to smooth the edge down using a tile file or some very fine sandpaper. Then, give the tile a wipe down with a damp cloth to eliminate dust or any remaining splinters. Now, check the tile fits snugly in position next to the toilet pedestal or other obstructions. And after applying adhesive and pressing the tile into the gap, it will look neat and tidy. To grout the tiles, Wait until the adhesive is dry. We're using 2-hour drying adhesive, but it can be up to 24 hours. Check the manufacturer's instructions. Grout comes in various greys and whites, as well as beige, charcoal and even black. So pick the one most suitable for your job. There are 2 kinds of grout, ready mixed and powdered. If you're using powder, only mix up as much as you'll probably use in 30 minutes, as it will begin to dry after that time and become difficult to work with. Check the manufacturer's instructions for how much this will be. If using old grout from another project, make sure it is not out of date. To apply the grout, place a small amount onto the tiles. Move it around and into the joints using a grout spreader or professional grout float like we're using. Spread it using diagonal strokes, working it into the gaps between the tiles. Work swiftly as the grout will soon start to harden. Continue like this until you have done all the joints. Wipe tiles with a damp sponge to remove any excess grout before it hardens and to get an evenly shaped grout. Continue like this until you have done all the joints. If you pull any grouting out accidentally, you can press some back in with your finger or reapply with the grout spreader. As the grout dries, a powdery film will become visible on the tiles. Polish this off with a soft, clean cloth, leaving your tiles sparkling. Grouting should last for at least 15 years, but you can extend the life of your grout by using a grout protector like this. It will create a barrier on top of the porous grout, protecting it from water, dirt, oil, grease and limescale, making it easier to clean too. Finally, seal the gap between the tiles and the wall with silicone sealant. First, to help make an even line, stick masking tape along the bottom of the skirting board and at the side of the tiles. Using a cartridge gun, squeeze a bead of sealant along the joint. Smooth it out using a sealant shaping tool. And that's it. Your bathroom floor is tiled. Here is a list of tools you will need to tile your bathroom floor. And here are the materials you will use. And this is the safety equipment.